On the night of December 1st, Staff Sergeant Nathan Payette woke up late for his shift at Nellis Air Force Base. In a hurry, he said goodbye to his wife, Michelle, and headed to the garage to leave, unaware of the danger awaiting him. Suddenly, gunshots broke the night's silence. Rushing to the noise, Michelle and their children found Nathan bleeding and barely able to stand. In shock, Michelle called 911, but despite paramedics' efforts, 28-year-old Nathan couldn't be saved. His death left the community in disbelief. As a decorated soldier and loving father was murdered at his doorstep. Investigators arrived to find unsettling details that hinted at something more sinister than a random crime. The garage showed signs of a struggle, but Nathan's keys and wallet were untouched, suggesting it wasn't a robbery. Suspicion soon fell on Michelle, whose nervous behavior and mention of financial troubles raised red flags. When she casually mentioned her colleague, Michael Rodriguez, drove a car similar to one seen near their house, detectives dug into his background and discovered a criminal past. More digging revealed that Michelle had been in an affair with Michael and that their relationship had taken a dark turn. As police uncovered evidence, a chilling conspiracy began to unfold. Struggling financially, Michelle and Michael allegedly planned to kill Nathan for his life insurance payout. Their scheme involved not only Michael but his friend Corey Alexis Hawkins, who had a history of theft and fraud, and his girlfriend Jessica Austin. The group devised a plot to murder Nathan and cover their tracks meticulously, even enlisting Jessica to buy gloves and other supplies for the crime. The original plan was to stage Nathan's murder to look like an unrelated crime. However, on December 1st, as Nathan entered his garage, Michael approached him from behind and shot him multiple times. After the murder, the conspirators attempted to destroy evidence, burning their clothes and cleaning any trace of their involvement. Yet detectives were able to piece together phone records, witness statements, and Michelle's confession, which pointed to a premeditated murder for financial gain. A week later, on December 8th, Michelle and her accomplices were arrested, with Michelle now the prime suspect. The trials that followed revealed the depth of the betrayal. Despite her claims of remorse, Michelle's actions and communications painted her as a central figure in the conspiracy. By 2015, she was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Her co-conspirators, including Michael and Corey, received similar sentences, ensuring they would face justice for the brutal murder that shattered a family and shocked a community. The shocking case of Brian Taylor, an 18-year-old from Metairie, Louisiana, left his community in disbelief. Known as a hard-working high school senior with dreams of opening his own auto repair shop, Brian had a passion for cars and a quiet maturity beyond his years. Living with his blind grandmother Mabel, he balanced school, a part-time job, and caring for her with admirable dedication. Brian was in a serious relationship with Lisa Grant, a fellow 18-year-old with shared hopes for the future, and the young couple was deeply devoted to each other. But beneath this seemingly happy surface, a dark secret loomed: a secret affair between Brian and Lisa's mother, Pamela Gerard, a striking 43-year-old entrepreneur. Pamela, a prominent figure in the local social circles, ran a multi-level marketing company called Beauty Buys. While successful, she harbored a deep-seated rivalry with her daughter, competing with Lisa for attention, especially from men. This jealousy turned toxic when Pamela began an affair with Brian, seeing it as a means to validate her own desirability. The relationship, known only to the two of them, would ultimately ignite a chain of events that led to tragedy. On August 12, 2021, the peaceful suburb of Metairie was shattered. That morning, Mabel sensed something was wrong when she didn't hear Brian moving around the house. Feeling uneasy, she called her neighbor, Mrs. Alice Dupré, for help. Mrs. Dupré, a retired nurse who had known Brian since he was young, entered the house and felt a chilling sense of dread. A strange metallic scent led her to Brian's room, where she discovered his lifeless body, lying in a pool of blood. He had been stabbed multiple times, and his eyes were nearly gouged out, with the knife lying nearby. Shaken to her core, Mrs. Dupré dialed 911. Detective Michael Duval and his colleague Renee Martinez were assigned to the case. They arrived at the house, noting the violent scene in Brian's bedroom, with blood staining the walls and floor. The detectives quickly surmised that the nature of the attack was deeply personal. Brian had not only been brutally attacked but had also been mutilated, suggesting an intense emotional motive. Their investigation would soon focus on Pamela. In questioning, Pamela initially maintained a composed facade, dressed in an elegant pantsuit with her usual meticulous makeup, but the flicker of nervousness in her eyes betrayed her. The detectives learned of her complex relationship with Lisa and her apparent jealousy, uncovering the affair with Brian. Pamela had been infatuated with him, and her jealousy over his relationship with her daughter had grown dangerously intense. This obsession had not only fueled the affair but had also ultimately led to Brian's violent end. The discovery of the affair and the gruesome murder left the Metairie community reeling. What appeared to be a loving home had concealed a toxic mix of jealousy, betrayal, and obsession. As detectives pieced together the clues, it became evident that Pamela had orchestrated this tragedy, her dark secrets spilling out into a crime that would haunt the neighborhood for years to come. In the aftermath, friends and family mourned the young life taken too soon, left to grapple with the terrible truth hidden behind closed doors. In 2021, the murder of 20-year-old Brian Taylor shook the close-knit community of Metairie, Louisiana, leading detectives on a trail filled with shocking revelations. Brian had been dating Lisa Grant, an 18-year-old who had recently graduated high school, when his brutal murder exposed the dark, hidden lives of those around him. During the investigation, the detectives quickly focused on Pamela Gerard, Lisa's mother. Pamela, 43, a local businesswoman known for her multi-level marketing company Beauty Buys, appeared to lead a polished and successful life. However, rumors circulated that her relationship with Brian had extended beyond her daughter's boyfriend. When confronted, Pamela initially denied any wrongdoing but later broke down, confessing to an affair with Brian. Her obsession with him became evident, shifting suspicion toward her. Pamela wasn't the only person under scrutiny. Lisa also became a suspect, especially after revealing she'd found explicit messages between her mother and Brian. Though Lisa denied involvement in his murder, her alibi was shaky, and she seemed distraught, hinting at deep emotional scars left by her mother's betrayal. Meanwhile, Robert Gerard, Pamela's husband and a well-known attorney, displayed a calm detachment during questioning. He claimed ignorance of the affair until after Brian's death, but his aloof demeanor and evasive responses added to the investigators' suspicions. A dramatic turn in the case came when detectives received an anonymous tip about Pamela's office. Upon investigation, they found disturbing evidence. Pamela's office held explicit photos of Brian and even a makeshift shrine. Furthermore, documents exposed Beauty Buys as a scam that exploited vulnerable women, leaving many financially ruined. This discovery gave Pamela a new motive for murder: the need to protect her crumbling empire and obsessive fixation on Brian. With mounting evidence, Pamela was arrested in August 2021. During her trial, prosecutors portrayed her as a woman consumed by jealousy and manipulation, while her defense painted her as a devoted mother and businesswoman. Despite their efforts, Pamela was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life without parole. The case highlighted not only her disturbing fixation on Brian but also the exploitation behind her business, which later collapsed under scrutiny. The tragic case left a lasting impact on Metairie, especially on Lisa and Robert. Lisa, devastated by the betrayal and loss, moved away to escape her painful past, while Robert withdrew from public life. The shocking crime underscored the devastation that unchecked obsession and deception can bring, leaving deep scars in its wake. Savelle College, once a prestigious boarding school, faced severe financial challenges by the late 2000s. Located in a small town with a shrinking young population, it struggled to attract students, leading the school to relax admission standards to stay afloat. A promising student, who had behavioral issues but strong academics, was admitted. Her parents, eager for her to benefit from the structured environment, saw improvements in her academic performance and behavior, visiting her frequently. On November 16, 2011, went into town with friends but didn't return. When attempts to contact her failed, the school reported her disappearance. Her parents, devastated, joined the search efforts, convinced she wouldn't run away. Police interviews led them to Estelle, A's friend from another school, who initially claimed they parted ways after shopping. Later, Estelle revealed a had planned to meet a boy that day, Matt Mewis, who was known for substance abuse and behavioral issues. Questioned by police, Matt initially denied knowing A, but changed his story when shown their text messages. He claimed they had planned to pick mushrooms together, but later fell unconscious after drinking, waking up alone. Investigators found scratches on Matt that appeared to be from a struggle, and witnesses saw him emerge from the woods disheveled. When police searched the area, they discovered A's body, showing signs of a violent assault and partially burned. Confronted with evidence, Matt confessed, detailing how he had lured A into the woods with intentions of assault. When she fought back, he tied her up, assaulted her, and killed her in a fit of rage. Afterward, he attempted to burn her body to hide the evidence. Matt showed no remorse, describing the events with unsettling calmness. Forensic analysis confirmed A's DNA under Matt's nails and on his yo-yo, which he used to tie her up. Further investigation revealed Matt's history of violence, including a previous attack on a childhood acquaintance. A's tragic death shocked her community, highlighting Matt's deeply troubled past and his family's repeated efforts to shield him from accountability. The case of Matt Muse and Caroline Crouch presents two tragic tales of crime, manipulation, and, ultimately, justice. Matt Muse, a young man from France, planned a violent attack on his girlfriend, bringing duct tape and other materials to restrain her. Initially, he received a light sentence due to his age, spending only 4 months in a psychiatric clinic. His parents, influential and wealthy, hired skilled lawyers to ensure his release, promising the court that Matt would leave the area and continue treatment. With financial incentives, they managed to get him admitted into a private school, despite his criminal record, misleading administrators about the true nature of his offense. However, as Matt approached his 18th birthday, his crime resurfaced in court, and a second psychiatric evaluation exposed his violent tendencies. This time, the court tried him as an adult, and Matt received a life sentence for his brutal crime, marking him as one of the few juveniles in French history to receive such a severe punishment. In Greece, Caroline Crouch, a young British Greek woman, married Babis Anagnostopoulos, a wealthy helicopter pilot, at just 15. However, their love story turned dark when masked intruders broke into their home on May 11, 2021, looking for money. They threatened Babis, restrained him, and then brutally suffocated Caroline in front of their infant daughter, ransacking the house for cash and valuables. Investigators found few clues, other than a hood left by one of the intruders. Babis described one attacker, and police created a suspect sketch. Days later, they arrested Georgi Haraldishvili, a known burglar with a record of violent break-ins similar to the Crouch case. Haraldishvili was apprehended attempting to flee Greece with a fake passport. Police suspected his involvement based on his history, proximity to previous crimes near Caroline's residence, and his resemblance to the sketch. Both cases demonstrate the complexity of criminal justice systems and the societal implications when wealthy individuals, such as Matt's parents, influence legal outcomes. The brutal ends met by Caroline Crouch and Matt's victim underscore the tragic consequences of unchecked violence and deception. Babis Anagnostopoulos repeatedly denied any involvement in Caroline Crouch's death, claiming he had never heard of her. Eventually, his case fell apart due to a lack of evidence, resulting in 3 Athens homicide officers being demoted for mishandling the investigation. As interest turned towards an Albanian crime group, investigators narrowed their focus to 10 suspects but failed to uncover solid leads. Public frustration grew, with Caroline's case becoming a symbol of fear amid rising hate crimes in Athens. Babis remained active on social media, expressing hope for justice. 37 days after Caroline's murder, at a memorial on Alonissos, detectives asked Babis to return to Athens for more questioning. Suspicion rose as investigators scrutinized his account, finding multiple discrepancies. Babis claimed intruders had entered through a small basement window, but it was too tiny for someone of the size he described. Neighbors hadn't reported any sounds from the supposed break-in, and the house lacked fingerprints or DNA evidence. Further inconsistencies appeared in Babis's story of a damaged memory card from a security camera. In reality, the card had been removed hours before the alleged break-in. Most damning was data from Caroline's smartwatch, which showed her heart rate spiked at 4:05 a.m., followed by a sudden stop at 4:11 a.m., challenging Babis's timeline of events. His own fitness app showed him moving when he claimed he was restrained. Attempts to replicate his account of calling emergency services with his nose also failed, further weakening his story. In the days before her death, Caroline tried to book a hotel for herself and their daughter, hinting at plans to leave Babis. Despite an idealized romance that included eloping soon after she turned 18, Evidence suggested she may have felt increasingly isolated from family and friends.